Well, hello, fellow leggers. Thank you for joining us once more. We seem to be here quite a bit recently, and by here, I mean the RSC Theatre in the lovely town of Stratford-upon-Avon.
Where this evening we are seeing a restoration piece dating back to the 1680s, and that is Venice Preserved.
So stick around, find out all of our thoughts.
Find out how many stars.
Whether it's break a leg
Or leg it.
So we are in the Swan Theatre tonight, which is the smaller stage.
There's so many stages here at the RSC.
Well, there's three,
and then
including across the road.
Is it? It's not the other palace.
The other place.
The other place.
The other palace that's in London.
The other palace stole the name of the other palace, I think, from the other place. So here's the other place.
I don't like the name of the other palace. Controversial. I preferred it when it was St James, just because what does it mean? I don't know. But anyway, I digress.
Because there's Victoria Palace. Anyway,
we digress.
We're not even there,
guys.
We're here. We're in Stratford-upon-Avon,
Stratford.
the birthplace of Shakespeare himself.
Yes.
Okay.
I thought he meant his theatre then. I was thinking he wasn't born here, was he? Of course he was born here. I don't know what day of the
moving
week
on.
New version of the classic restoration thriller this evening by Thomas Otway.
Restoration
Venice
thriller.
Preserved.
Okay.
Yeah. Written in the 1680s and considered one of the most significant tragedies of the English stage in that era.
Wow.
Nowadays it's much more rarely performed, but this production is directed by Prasanna Puwanarajah. I really hope I got that right. And it shares many of the repertoire cast of The Provoked Wife that we saw here just recently.
Brilliant. I'm so looking forward to seeing that cast in different roles.
Including Pete Ashmore, Natalie Dew, John Hodgkinson and Les Dennis.
Way.
Along with some faces that are only in this piece. So they're not all from that show.
Sure.
Now it's the story of a Venetian soldier who joins an international revolution against the leaders of the failed city-state, but soon the soldier is forced to go on the run with his wife and they make a decision that tears their lives apart.
Interesting. Okay, let's see what happens.
Because, I mean, we often say classic drama has themes that never age, right?
Yes.
And those are still things that we see in modern day thrillers and action films and, I'm thinking of things like Taken and all that. I will find
absolutely.
you, I will kill you, all of that.
At the end of the day, I just like good theatre.
Yeah.
As long as it's good.
As long as it's good, it just has to be good.
Just bring it.
2 hours and 20 minutes plus a 20-minute interval, so not a short one, but what we are promised is strobes, stabbings and scenes of a sexual nature.
I like it already.
Lots of S's there, aren't there?
I like it already.
Nice
okay.
ballsy piece. So,
nice ballsy piece.
Well, there is an interval, we'll be catching up with you there, let us know what we're thinking at that point.
And as usual, stick around to the end, leggers, to find out how many stars and all of our thoughts. It's the interval, which means it is time for the break, leggers.
30-second interval breakdown.
Go! What do you think so far?
I mean, it's largely style over substance, to be honest. Something about it is just getting lost and not landed. Some committed performances, though, bordering on a little bit over the top at times. I feel like I'm being forced to understand it. What about you?
I just don't care. Some really passionate performances, some really nice fighting, so nice work from the fight director, some nice visual elements, harping back to kind of Stranger Things X-styling, but I just don't care. We've come to the end, fellow leggers, of Venice Preserved. So come the interval, I guess we weren't too blown away.
No, but it could have gone either way for me at that point.
It's just show of two acts.
I was still hopeful, and I think that was the promise. The problem. The promise was there of more, and then it never delivered. For me, I was really thinking as it was unfolding of what I would do with it, and then I know there's a problem. I was thinking, okay, it could go here now, and I would get that, and then it just never went where I thought it was going to go, and where it did go was pretty lackluster.
It's got a mix of Julius Caesar in there.
Yep,
it seemed like some big
Caesar.
epic rebelling against the system. Even in their Coriolanus as well, kind of fighting against the system.
Oh, bless you.
Bless
Gosh,
me.
That was almost as exciting as it got.
So there's elements, but then suddenly went a bit crazy as well. This with some real nice light relief, which really stood out in stark contrast to the rest of the piece. With this senator and his kind of sex slave. We'll come on to the performance of that in a little bit.
Yes.
But in terms of the writing, ultimately, I didn't care because I didn't get the context of the piece. I think that's there were these big, impassioned, passionate scenes with these intense relationships, with the talking about things that seemed these characters really cared about to the point of nobility, but I didn't know why, and I couldn't be invested in them.
Interesting.
And I was just thinking, these characters are really disturbed. Why are they caring about this so much? What's the big deal?
And interestingly enough, I think it was, for me, there was a lack of subtlety and vulnerability about any of them. I couldn't understand I didn't get a sense of sort of fear or a longing for the system to change or a reason for that.
What's the better?
And it was just like, this has got to be different and we're going to fight for it. But they never told us why.
No.
And like I say, when people are fighting for change, there is an amount of aggression, but there's also an amount of fear that it's driven by, because you're thinking, oh my God, our way of life is under attack, or the things that we've taken for granted aren't going to be there anymore. But what the hell were they in this piece?
I don't know. And then as a result, this main character, Jaffeir, like this main character, I was just thinking, what's your problem, man? You've got issues, all these things you're willing to sacrifice, like this love relationship you're having with your wife, and yet you're selling her, you're giving her up to kind of be abused and imprisoned by this rebel cause, and then you're getting her back, but then you're going to kill her, then you're going to kill yourself, then you're going to kill this, kill that. Like, what's wrong with you, Jaffeir? And because we didn't have that context, I was just thinking, this man's got deep issues. What's wrong with you?
I also found characters appearing at times and seeming to make a big impact with the characters on stage, but never getting that across to the audience. Again, I'm thinking specifically about the character of Renaud. He was there. Why was
defined character?
Yeah, well defined and well portrayed, but then everything that he was saying just seemed like utter drivel.
Because he gave this big impassioned speech.
I turned to you at one point, and after all of that passion and energy, and I was like, I can't understand it, and I just felt that it was completely lost, lack of context. So that's the piece. I mean, it was written in the 1600s. I've never heard of Thomas Otway before, but
no.
And I mean, maybe there's a reason for that.
Maybe there's echoes to be said politically to what's going on now between them. It would have been a very heavily political piece
at the time.
But
I don't know enough about the era, so maybe this just isn't for us.
Maybe they thought in putting this on, we're in a politically charged time, so maybe there can be parallels drawn. I didn't get them.
What I did really enjoy was the design, actually.
Yes.
I thought the design
concept
was
great.
Was absolutely fantastic. James Cotterill on design.
And bringing together, I guess, then the costumes, the lighting, the sound, like the visual images, I think are going to be stunning. There's some stunning visual images.
Yeah. I mean, it's no surprise that the recent Girl on the Train is his design as well, and they relies heavily on projection and these sorts of the elements I can see actually are typically him considerably. Nina Dunn on video and laser designer as well. I mean, how often do we get to say great laser design?
Yeah,
so that's a treat.
They make this kind of prison cell, and it's a prism cell.
To be fair, is a little bit Matilda for me, because you've not seen it.
I've not seen it.
But a similar thing happens with the lasers, and so I did.
It works
see
really
that.
well. If it's been done before, but great.
But it was still very, very good. I'm just making sure it's not the same person as Matilda, but it doesn't look like it is.
Okay, who else?
I also really enjoyed Jack Knowles' lighting design. Thought that was great, and you really liked Kate Waters for fight direction.
I thought the fight direction was great. There's a really nice scene at the end of the first act, real earthy, no superfluous stuff, like real grounded, how fighting for your life should be. And it should be uncomfortable and horrible and desperate. And it had all those elements in it.
George Dennis on sound design, also Three Sisters at the Almeida, which has just finished, and A Very, Very Dark Matter at the Bridge. So we've seen a lot of his sound.
I also like the music, as
That's
usual,
the point.
accompanied by
now,
music.
Talking about design, this is very heavily 80s inspired. It's almost like a Frankie Goes to Hollywood 80s music video at times. I felt like The Human League. I felt like Don't You Want Me Baby.
Stranger
Together
Things.
in Electric
If thinking
Trees.
Netflix, Stranger Things, that kind of 80s
Very
influence.
80s neon,
Yeah.
very sort of shoulder pads and new romantic-esque. And I enjoyed the
that.
design. It
That's
was
it.
bold and it was something. That's
Be
what
something.
it was.
That's exactly what I was
Yeah.
going to say. Be something, don't be nothing,
And
it was something.
It's memorable. For me, it's probably the most memorable thing about
Absolutely.
the piece. Let's go on to performances.
There were some very impassioned performances. This
Yeah.
is a highly accomplished cast.
Yeah,
We know
absolutely.
this because we've seen them in other things.
Yes.
And the performances that they gave were passionate.
Mm-hmm.
I just didn't get the context. I didn't connect.
Yeah.
Do you understand? So let's talk through a couple
So
of
let's
them.
talk through them. I think we need to talk about Jaffeir, Michael Grady Hall.
Okay.
Came on too strong for me to begin with, but I thought he sort of I got his character as time went on. I was sold the whole farm at times, and I would have liked, like I say, a bit more subtlety.
Okay. I also
Yep.
liked his wife.
Yeah, so the
I thought she
character
was
of
really good.
Belvidera, played by Jodie McNee, like a young Leslie Ash.
I thought she was absolutely brilliant.
Mm-hmm.
I thought she was fantastic. These highly charged, highly passionate scenes
Yeah.
that she was given, to the point of breaking down, fighting for her life, fighting for her husband, not understanding what is going on.
Yeah.
I thought she was great.
I would sum her up.
The context of it,
Yeah.
I didn't know what was
I
going
would
on, but I thought that's good.
sum her performance up as didn't care what she was saying, but enjoyed how she was saying it.
Yes, that's exactly what it is.
Yeah.
Exactly that.
John Hodgkinson, I mean, every
Wow.
single performance we see of his, we've got something to rave about.
Yeah.
And he plays this sort of it was Stephen Ward for me, this highly sexed politician who has a huge amount of power, is yet a right kinky bastard. And I loved that with John.
I'm never going to look at him in the same way.
I don't think you can
What
after
is
you've
that? Is
seen
that
him
latex?
in after
Is it
you've
rubber?
seen him in a latex
Because I don't know,
like
because I'm so
assless
innocent.
chaps.
Yes.
I don't think you could ever look at John again in the same way. But do you
No.
know what? He's bloody bold, and do you know what? He's the sort of person that was probably loving that.
I think
he's
so.
loving that.
And he has
we
the
loved
comedy
it too.
relief in this,
He
so I
does.
think that he is loving being that relief for this piece.
Yes.
And he was great.
I would also mention Steve Nicholson in the role of Renault.
Giving his all, giving
yeah.
150%
I mean, you would
in
hope
those speeches.
so. And also Stephen Fewell as Pierre, is he the leader of the political uprising? He's certainly one of the stronger figures in it.
Oh, yeah, the guy with the beard.
Yes.
Okay, I hardly recognise his face. Yes.
It's because in his headshot he doesn't have a beard. It
Again-
doesn't take much to fool you.
It doesn't. Very passionate performance.
He did
Again,
1984 in the West
I didn't
End.
understand the relationship, but he was giving it all. I thought these guys are fighting
what you're
for their
telling me is they're
cause.
giving it all,
They're
right?
giving it all.
Giving
They're
it
fighting
all.
for their lives. They're giving their
'Cause
lives.
I'm giving it all. Yes, I'm giving it all. So let's wrap it up.
I guess there's nothing more to say.
For
So
Venice Preserved, the Thomas Otway restoration thriller, playing at the RSC Swan Theatre.
we are going to give two stars for this piece.
2 stars, 1 for the design, really strong elements of design, and 1 for a fantastically committed cast that unfortunately know how to say it. I just don't give a damn what they're saying.
Yeah, it's a real shame.
I just think it's lost on us.
Well,
maybe.
no, like
Okay.
a Simon, because there are empty seats come,
From the
post-interval. So it obviously wasn't us. Look around, there's some yawning as well. So,
4 stars in the national press, though. So
well, hey,
it's horses for courses, because at the end of the day, it's just what we think.
and just what I think.
Yeah, what do you think? Let us know if you've caught this or anything else at the RSC.
And come and prove us wrong.
Yeah, prove us wrong, guys. Tell us what we're missing, because we
Come
love to hear.
come
I
to
love
Stratford.
I love an education. I really do. If you want to see more of us out and about, then hit subscribe so we know you are there. We are the Breaker Leggers.
And we'll catch you again soon.
Bye.